Everyone, this is LP, and you're listening to Spirit and Soul Podcast.
Welcome to Spirit and Soul Podcast, a space where we share antidotes, lessons, recipes, and the personalities of those in the service industries, specifically sometimes in Atlanta. But we all love a great cocktail, and the industry is just so much more than that. We have soul too, and that's why you love us so much. I'm your host, Courtney, and today our special guest is Lauren Paylor O'Brien, aka LP. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be amazing.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm like really excited. I've been prepping all week and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I get to
Yes, I love that.
talk to LP. For those of you who don't know, LP is an award-winning mixologist, an entrepreneur, a huge Black, Indigenous, people of color advocate, especially within the food and beverage industry. LP was the winner of the new mixology competition series on Netflix called Drink Masters, where she was crowned the ultimate drink master. LP, I'm probably not the first to tell you this, but it felt like such a personal win, not just because the show itself showcased our industry in such a cool way, but because you're a Black woman and came out on top. And I really didn't know how much I needed that until it happened. So thank you.
I appreciate you saying that. And truthfully speaking, I don't know that I realized how much it would mean to me until it happened. So it's been a journey, and there's been a lot of amazing things that have come out of it.
Oh my gosh, that's funny that you say that because it's like I don't know how you felt in the process, of course, but like that's crazy how you feel the same way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those things that I think like you go into this and you're doing it and you're like, you know what, I want to do this to showcase my skill set, but then the impact is so much bigger than you could have ever imagined it would be.
yes, yes, exactly. I want to talk a little bit more about that too today. How are you feeling these days, just in general? I know
I
you're
think,
traveling a lot.
yeah, I'm traveling a lot. I was saying this to my husband the other day. I was like, it's one thing to be traveling and, kind of going through the motions in a way that doesn't align with what your end goal is, your mission is, your values are. I'm so grateful to be at a place where I'm so grounded in what my mission and my values are, and that there's so much good coming out of all the work that we're doing. Yeah, I'm a little tired, but honestly, I'm so happy. And I could be more grateful for the amazing communities that I get to be a part of.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I do want to talk about cocktails and comedy. So I know you're on tour right now with that, and I'm following you on IG, and I'm like loving to see you jet setting across the country and the globe, just being the face of the industry right now, and representing all of everyone in the industry, but also Black and brown people, just in different rooms and spaces. So that's really cool. And I know our listeners are probably wondering, like, okay, this show is about Atlanta. So, like, and then when is LP coming to Atlanta? And so, if you're interested, which you are if you listen to this podcast, LP is going to be in Atlanta. Mark your calendars, March 7th for the Cocktails and Comedy Tour. So, basically, that's talented, acclaimed comedians paired with amazing cocktails and some dope bar talent. It's right up my alley. I love stuff like this, and I really do want to know more. So how was the live concept developed and kind of, I know I read up that it was kind of, you had it's a collaboration with Rojo Perez, which is the comedian that's created this concept with you. How did that conversation go? Like, how did it become like an idea to an actual tour? I know that's a lot of
Yeah,
questions, but
yeah. I think it's one of those things where we finished filming and I really loved um, what Rojo and Tone were all about and reached out to them and was like, listen, I have an idea for this concept and I'd love to see if it aligns with what you respectively want to do. And ultimately, what we decided was this was a really good way to amplify the voices of people who are BIPOC, Black, brown individuals, females, LGBTQIA, people who don't often get the limelight, who don't often get the opportunity to showcase what they've got. And what better way to do that than to take this opportunity to also give back to our community? And so we're donating any proceeds that we get for all the merch that we sell, um, towards an organization called Another Round, Another Rally, which focuses on providing emergency resources, education, and really serves underserved individuals and communities within the beverage sector, which is so powerful. And so,
That's so
we're
good.
yeah, and we're currently in Nashville, and Raj is our guest mixologist. Tiffany Berry will be our guest mixologist in Atlanta, and she is a
I love her.
powerhouse.
I love her so
Powerhouse.
much.
She's a powerhouse. We love her. Um, and so I'm really honored that we get to, be on the road, travel, and meet all these people who are just genuinely excited to be a part of what we're doing. And then along the way, like the mission is just so impactful.
It really is. It's so much more, like I was saying earlier, it's so much more than cocktails, guys. I mean, I know sometimes that's where we start, that's the introduction, but it's like it just grows from there. And so even it's really cool too to just see how you've like every person you come in contact with, how you just collaborate and build from. Like you like, okay, we're doing this together. Like I love seeing that. It's just it represents community in such a strong way, and hopefully I'm just hoping that that influences other people to do the same thing, because that's really what it's all about, and that's how we all succeed. So I love seeing you do that.
Yeah, the collaboration element has always been important to me. And I think it really showcases how easy it can be. But it's all about intention and then like following through with it to make it happen.
You mentioned Tiffany. I love her. She's just like a no-brainer choice for Atlanta as far as like cocktails and just bringing such a presence with her. She's such just a really cool individual. But what's your intention behind the bar talent choices for each city that you go to? Like
For
what?
sure.
Yeah.
So when we were deciding who to select as mixologists for each city, it was a no-brainer this first time around. We really wanted to showcase the individuals who are part of Drink Masters in its first iteration. The reason being, I mean, let's be honest, you got to see one side of us in very stressful environments, and we want to, redeem ourselves a bit, give you a second opportunity to know us on a more intimate level. And so, even the way we've structured this event, it does differ in every city, but the idea is that mixologists are hosting, and they're really getting a chance to converse with
Hmm.
everyone. They're really getting a chance to take some time to continue the mission, which is uh, to close that gap and really make that interaction you typically have at a bar where it's just like, here's your vodka soda, have a good day. Really dismantle what that experience is for this environment. And again, just provide you with an opportunity to make it real. Like we're humans, we want to have conversations with you. And so, yeah, so we're hoping in the second iteration of this, if we're able to do one, that we have a really great opportunity to kind of shift that lens and present you with a different side of us. So
Yeah.
yeah, ever
I
evolving for
love
sure.
that so much. I was working last night actually at a bar, and I was just talking about that to the manager there and some of the guests, and how like sometimes people don't get that connection. And for the most part, I think that a lot of people are there. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I keep saying it, but yeah, they want a cocktail, but they want connection. People come to a bar because they want connection. And so events like cocktails and comedy, like that's dope. And the fact that that's like kind of like an underlining mission for what you're doing with it and whatnot. I love that. I think we need more of it. And I hope this is like another tour next
Yeah,
year and it just keeps going because that's really cool. So
I hope so too. And
yeah. I did want to make sure that everyone knew where to buy their tickets, which is at
yeah.
cocktailsincomedy.com, right?
Yeah, so it's www.cocktails, the letter N, comedy.com. All the cities are listed there, and you'll get all the information you need about the charities we're working with, what the Cocktails and Comedy is all about, and then
So
ticket
good.
information.
Also, guys, that's March 7th at City Winery in Atlanta. Are they all at City Wineries in the different cities that you're going to?
Yeah, so we partnered with City Winery for the locations for this iteration. The venues are bigger. Hey, we wanted to make it like sexy and sleek. And having a partnership with them has really made it more than what we could have imagined. So we're
Yes,
really
setting the
grateful for that.
vibe. Yes, that's awesome. I do want to talk about LP Drinks, which is, I know, your beverage
Yeah,
consultancy that houses all of your different initiatives like cocktails and comedy, focus on health, and bodega culture. All programming is about, from what I understand, is about inclusivity and safe spaces for BIPOC females and LGBTQ and just within the hospitality, food and beverage industry. And then there's some of it that I understand
yeah.
to be for health and wellness in our industry as well. I just remember that like when I was in my 20s and I was working behind the bar, I could have really used a lot of this. I could have used so much of
Yes.
this. And now and I don't know why I wasn't exposed to it. Maybe I just, it wasn't around or wasn't as accessible, or maybe I didn't think I needed it. But now as an entrepreneur
Yeah.
in this space, I'm definitely thankful for it. And thankful that it's becoming more of a
Yeah.
normalcy. Um, how did you know you wanted to commit your life to something like this, pursuing something like this and creating these kind of safe spaces? That kind of always been your mission this whole time?
So I was a nurse prior to doing food and beverage, and I think that for me it was always about being around people, taking care of people, making people, comfortable, safe, feel safe, etc. I think that I've naturally been able to kind of integrate that in what I'm doing with the programming I have and the platforms that I have. I do think it's important to state that although the work that we're doing is focused on these underserved communities, our intention, and we truly like mean this, um we're not putting ourselves in a position where we're looking to exclude anyone from
Okay.
being a part of the experience. What we're really do yeah, we're really doing is trying to shift that lens and focus on individuals who don't normally get the opportunity. That's really what it is, right? And so I think it's really powerful, and I think um it's really impactful because just, you have this idea, you see it kind of come into fruition, and then it happens, and it's just like reflecting on these last few stops with cocktails and comedy specifically. It's been so magical to see how everyone's really come together. Everyone loves to laugh, and most
Hmm.
people love to drink. And even the ones who don't like to drink or are unable to drink for whatever reason they choose, we have
Yeah.
non-alcoholic options for them. So we're really trying to create something that really does allow everyone to be a part of the experience. So whether that is having, non-alcoholic and alcoholic options on on your menu, whether that is ensuring that we can provide accessibility modifications when we're able to and when necessary, whether that is making the decision to work with certain venues and people so that they can be a part of
That's
something they
cool.
wouldn't typically have an opportunity to be a part of. And so we're trying to do our best where
Hmm.
we can. We can't do it all. Like I think like even, hearing the mission back is like, wow, that's a lot to take on. And I think I'm very like rational and very honest in saying that like we do what we can where we can, and there are a lot of
Yeah,
lessons we're learning along the way.
that's good. Um, so what were the humble beginnings for LP drinks? So did this evolve like kind
Yeah.
of in the last couple of years and into like the drink master phase, or is this something you have been doing like a while?
Yeah, I've been doing this a while, and it started out as me just doing beverage consulting with bars, which is basically helping them with their menus. They're opening a spot, they need someone to come and consult on their cocktails and train their bartenders. And what it's really turned into is really rethinking the way that we establish a good foundation with beverages. It's not just about the ability to make a delicious cocktail. It really is about ensuring that you are creating a space where your staff feels psychologically safe, they are supported, they are empowered, and that really does like transition over into the experience
Yes,
that they
it
provide to our guests.
does.
But it's
It's so
again,
crazy how that's overlooked.
yes,
I'm like,
it
hello.
yes, yes. And like here's the thing, if somebody's having a bad day, you go to a bar that you're here's the thing, you can drink at home. You can eat at home. So if you're going out of your way to go into a space, you're looking to be shown a good time. And so if you go to a bar and the staff is very clearly uncomfortable or sad or upset, you're probably not going to go back. But more importantly than that, we work with humans. We take care of humans. So why would you want to, own a space where your staff does not feel good, right? Um, and so I think for me, it was just like about humanizing the experience, acknowledging all of those nuanced elements and how, outside looking in, it's really easy to make judgment or,
Hmm.
critique. You don't really know what these people are going through. You don't, it's really difficult to interpret like the reasons why
Right.
people do the things they do. And so having that open dialogue, asking questions, feeling empowered to speak up for yourself and your needs, like these are all things that we're trying our
Right.
best to do.
What you're saying resonates so much with me on so many levels. Like, I don't even have words because it's just like I completely
Yeah.
agree. That's a lot about what we talk about on the podcast. I'm writing a book, and that's the basis of the book too, and the characters of
I
the
love
book.
it.
So I think that I'm always just trying to find a way. How do I let people in on this and understand this? Because it's like so
Yeah,
I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for what you're doing. LP
I
drinks, like
appreciate
keep
that.
going, sis, keep going.
Thank
Um,
you.
what else do we have here? Oh, okay. I was gonna ask. Okay, so you're on Netflix. You're the ultimate drink master in the world. You're touring. You got a lot of visibility right now. You have an amazing PR team. Do you still encounter some challenges with your reach? And what does that look like? Maybe it's not the
Yeah,
same all the time,
yeah.
but
It's interesting. That's an interesting question because I think that I'm very fortunate and lucky in that my mindset about the work I do has never been about how many people I can access as much as it has been about what impact I make on the people I
hmm.
do have access to. Because I think that if you're in a room with a million people and what you're saying only resonates with 20, it doesn't matter how many
Yeah.
people you have access to, right? However, if I'm in a room with 100 people who have been following me since day one and believe in everything I'm doing and everything I say resonates with them, I think
Yeah.
that's much more impactful. So I think what I'm lucky in that the people who have supported us and who have um, been introduced to us recently really do believe in what we're doing, are able to be a
Hmm.
part of what we're doing in a very different way. And it's programs like this that really allow them to be a part of the experience. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I hope, obviously, that we continue to make this impact on larger
Yeah.
scale and larger level. But it's not something I'm
Got you.
necessarily
Okay.
seeking.
Yep. That's a good attitude.
Yeah.
Very good attitude. Very grounded,
Oh,
LP. Um, yeah,
I'm
I
trying.
know. And speaking of, I know like social media can make everything seem, glitter and rainbows. When in reality, we're struggling with things. We got challenges every day. What do you think are some of the new challenges outside of like, your reach, but just regular challenges that you're faced with since winning Drink Masters? Maybe like with your responsibility or your self-care, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Things you have to get used to
Yeah.
that you're like, oh, this is different for me.
I think the biggest thing that's come up is I have a responsibility to make sure that I'm working with organizations, people, brands that align with me. And let's be honest, there's controversy everywhere, right? And so we
Hmm.
really truly have to make the decisions about who we work with and the way that they align with us respectively. And sometimes I've challenged myself to work with people, brands, spaces, places that don't necessarily directly align. But here's the thing. Cocktails and Comedy pays Black and Brown people. Cocktails and Comedy pays women. It pays the LGBTQIA community. I would never force anyone to be a part of it in a way that unaligns with them. We always give them a choice. We always support them in whatever decision they make. But the idea here is that like what we're doing is so much bigger than the BS that is often associated with these spaces and these people. And so
Yeah.
I think that what I'm really trying to do is make sure that I'm grounded in my values. Make sure that these people are getting paid, and more importantly, ensure that our partners know that I'm not going to deviate from what I believe in to accommodate their mission and their message. And that's real.
Uh-huh.
I have a responsibility and I take that really seriously.
Unapologetic. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's the way to be. And that's the way to do it too.
But you
That's
know
good.
what?
And you're looking out what?
On the outside looking in, sometimes it's really easy to critique. And there are people who do critique me, and that's okay. As long as the
Mm,
people who I know are impacted by the decisions I'm making, and I can have a real conversation with them about it. They may
Right.
not agree with me, but I at least owe them that conversation, and I always do my due diligence. As long as they know
Mm-hmm.
where my head's at,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Yep.
I'm
That's a
good.
really good attitude. That's a good attitude. That's such a good attitude. Because you can't win all the battles out there. It's
No.
like it's not for you to, you know. And the fact
Yeah.
that you do what you need to do to stay grounded. Speaking of, I'm like, how do you do that? Like, what's your grounding system? What does that look like for you? Like, is it your
Yeah.
support, your husband, your family? Like, what is that exactly?
So, after Drink Masters, I didn't realize, and we're gonna get real here,
Okay.
um, how emotional I was, how like I did let the way people spoke about me impact me. I did get upset when people didn't like me, and I had to realize that if I truly am someone who is trying to do good, acknowledging that there will be mistakes or even situations where I intended to do something and the end result wasn't necessarily that. If I'm open to growth and understand that the bigger the platform I have, the more critique there will be, and that the people I'm surrounded with and the people who are collaborating with me and working with me, have my best interest in mind. That I'm not always gonna get it right. I've got to, continue to evolve and grow. Um, as long as I was okay with that, that everything would be okay. And I'm still learning that. Like, I'm really lucky. My husband's an amazing human. Like, I am very lucky that I mean, God bless him. Let's put it that way. Because I, I, I get in my head sometimes, and he's like got words of wisdom always, and he's been such a great support system. My friends, my like business partners, just like everyone's been so amazing.
That's so
But
good.
the thing I love about them is that they're not sitting there like, oh, you know what, you're right, you're right. No, they're challenging me. Like, hey, here's another perspective, or hey, like, consider this, or hey, I understand what that person was coming from. And I need that. I don't want people around me who are just telling me that everything I do is the right
I don't
thing.
like that either.
How am I going to grow?
Exactly.
And here's the thing, it makes me uncomfortable as hell, but I'd rather have people who challenge me than people who just agree with everything I say.
That's true. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's
So it's
so
been a
good.
really it's been difficult in that there's been so much evolution and growth, but I'm such a stronger person now. I'm probably a better business owner, a better business partner, a better friend. And I'm an open book. It's like, let's be honest, if you don't, especially like in spaces that we occupy, if we're not honest about how we feel or how things impact us, nothing is ever going to change.
Right.
So I want that honesty. I want that transparency. I need it.
I feel
Otherwise,
like
things
this feels like church. It's Sunday. It
it's
feels like
true.
church. This feels like church because I literally was just saying like that was my goal this year. It's like I just need to be more honest because I put up with a lot of things and I say I'm okay or oh I'm not phased by that.
Oh
But
my
no,
God, let me
things
tell
bother me.
you that question. I said this the other day on a podcast. I was like, don't ask me how I am if you're not ready for the answer.
Oh my gosh. I've been literally going on that. I was and a lot of podcasts I've been listening to or different things I've listened to has been saying that too. If you ask me how I'm doing, I'm one of those people who's just like, oh my back hurt today. I actually got a meeting. I'm really excited. I'm meeting LP tomorrow. I've told everybody I'm
Yes.
talking to you today. I was like, oh, how's your day? How you doing? I'm great. I'm talking to LP tomorrow. So and they're like, good for you, sis. I'm like, yeah, good, yeah, yep. I'm happy. I'm content.
And I think that's it. It's like but that how are you? It's not just about the bad, it's about the good too.
Yeah,
But if you really don't want to know, then I think we just need to be more intentional about the words that we choose to use,
yeah,
because I could just say, I hope you're having a good day versus how are you?
yep,
And if my end result, if the end result in my head is I just wanna like be courteous, I don't have to ask how you are to do that.
exactly.
So I'm learning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful for that growth in such a short amount of time. Um, yeah, I really am. I really am.
That's so good. This really
Yeah.
does feel like church right now. Like all of the confirmation, you know what I mean? Like the things that I think about or the things that I'm even challenged with or considering the fact that you're dealing with that too on where you are with things. I'm just like that's it's very confirming and that you still find a way to be grounded. It's encouraging. So I keep telling you
Yeah.
thank you, but thank you. This means a
Yeah.
lot. More than even talking to you, I feel like when I said earlier, like you winning, I didn't know how much I needed it. Me talking to you right now, I didn't realize how much I needed
Yeah.
this. So it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
I'm becoming more of a fan.
Yeah. The thing too is like, so even like being on this podcast, I was telling this to, I think Katie, my publicist, the other day. I was like, I'm never going to do something just because I feel like I need to do it. Yeah, I'm never going to be a part of a podcast just because it has to get done because we have to promote the Atlanta show. No, I'm going to look up the podcast, see if it aligns, and I'm going to say yes or no, right? I'm never going to ask someone to be a part of our programming because we need to fill a void.
Yeah.
That's not where it's at.
Yep.
I'm never gonna take a paycheck just because I need to. But I tell you, if I take a paycheck and I need to do my due diligence, I'm gonna sure as hell do it.
Hmm.
So I think we need to be kinder, and a bit more understanding that I have the luxury of being able to choose, but not everyone else does.
Yeah.
Some
Yep.
people just got to do what they got to do because they got to do it.
Hmm.
And I think I say that because I wish just a little bit more that we were a little less judgmental in regards to that because we really don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's real.
Yep.
That's real. And the world is too hard to have that judgment.
Yeah. You're right. And it's the intentionality for me, like what you're saying, just being intentional. Like if people
But
were just a little
acknowledging,
bit more intentional.
yeah, but acknowledging that intention does not mean that you will accomplish what you want. Because you can be intentional and have all the good in your heart, and you can still hurt people.
Right.
You can be intentional and still cause someone harm. And I think it's like acknowledging the responsibility as well. Like, yeah, we're responsible for doing the things necessary to make sure that the people who have been negatively impacted or harmed along the way as well, um, are taken care of. So
Hmm.
I use that word often, but I think it's so much more than just the intention, right?
It's consciousness too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know so many people, hospitality workers, even myself, who juggles working behind a bar while pursuing their passion projects and their creative endeavors or small business goals. And I love that this space lends for that fluidity sometimes and that flexibility. I feel like that's kind of probably why I'm still here, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's also a challenging environment to be in because you have to have a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
We all know this, you know, as bartenders, we all drink. You know, we're an
Yeah.
environment that's fast paced, fast money. It's easy to get reckless really fast.
Yeah.
Do you have or lose sight of like, you know, your mission, you know, and what's the bigger picture? And okay, you're working here, but you know, don't forget these side projects or these side
For
things that
sure.
you have going on. Like, and that's with any job, you know, like you have your side hustle, you got what makes you money. What do you have any advice specifically in
Yeah.
our industry for those creatives and entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah. I mean, I've been resting a lot on this tour. I was stressed out at a point to my detriment because then I ended up getting a stress fever, and it's like it's not worth it, you know? So instead of continuing to stay out late nights, drinking, hanging
Mm-hmm.
out,
Mm-hmm.
I went home and went to bed and, got better. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, that that was not necessarily a thing I could always do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And um I think I got to a point where I realized that I need to make decisions that are good for me. And that feeling of like scarcity or
That
feeling like I
word.
needed.
That
Yes,
word,
yes,
girl.
yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
even, I mean, here's the thing. Like when I was first traveling for work years ago, it feels good to be checked into a hotel and to have a tab where you can just eat and drink whatever you want. And like
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of scarcity where you felt like the necessity to eat and drink everything
Mm-hmm.
because when you go back home you don't have that anymore. That's
Mm-hmm.
real, right?
Yep.
Like um I've definitely gotten to a point where it's like, no, Lauren, eat the salad. No, Lauren, drink water. No, Lauren, like go to bed. Because what I realized is that the reality the reality of the situation is that there are many more opportunities coming.
Right.
Um,
Right. It's not going to
yes,
run out. It's not going to run out because this is
exactly,
exactly where you're supposed to be and you're doing exactly
exactly.
what you're supposed to do. So quit acting like it's going to run out. Not you, but I'm telling
Yeah,
myself that too. Like, quit
yes,
acting like it's going to run
yes.
out. Chill.
Yeah, you know what? Or start like cut back a little bit where it's like, okay, cool. After the show, we're gonna have one drink and then I'm gonna go home
Hmm.
instead of staying out until 3 a.m. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And like it's all about how you feel. So I'm just really grounded in the way I feel. So if I don't feel well, I'm going home. If I'm
Yeah.
tired, I'm going home.
Yeah.
If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. If I'm thirsty, I'm going to drink water. So instead of ignoring how I feel, and then I just end up feeling so much worse.
Then there's FOMO.
Yes, there is FOMO. I don't let it bother me though. Not anymore anyway.
Oh, yeah. You are the there's like yeah, you don't have to be the one that worries about FOMO because
But
you're
you know
there.
what? You know what helped me with FOMO?
What?
I started writing down all of the accomplishments that I would have, like for instance, like 2023, we're in February. What I started doing is writing down all the cool things I did,
Hmm.
or like the things that brought me joy, or like the career like goals that
Yeah.
I accomplished. And when I did get that FOMO, I would reflect back on that list and be like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
What am I really
I'm
tripping
good."
for?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Out of your different programming, um, which one, and when I say that, I mean like, you have Focus on Health, Bodega Culture, Cocktails and Comedy. You might have some other ones too that I might, and
Yeah.
might be working on some new ones. Which one inspires you the most, or is that just too general of a question? Like, or which one cultivates more creativity from you?
I think they all equally inspire me. And the reason is because it took years to kind of get to a point where there was programming that, because, yeah, we create like one offs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the difference is that these are programs that are true extensions of the mission and values we've implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they all really focus on ways we can embrace culture, tell stories, display our creative outlet, which is cocktail making.
Mm-hmm.
Like Focus on Health has something called NOLO, which is no and low ABV beverages
Mm-hmm.
that we showcase at different bars. Bodega culture is about embracing bodegas, and with the bodega culture, it's like a direct extension of the cocktail making episode 2 and Drink Masters. The thing that's cool about it for me is that like, so bodegas um, are going to be accredited with the Puerto Rican community
Mm-hmm.
when they left Puerto Rico, came to New York, a new life for themselves and their family. So it's accredited with PR and New Yorkers. However, bodegas are all about bodega culture is all about the respective experiences we all have. We've all been to bodegas, but the
Yeah.
experiences we've had, depending on where the bodega is so different,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's all about culture and lived experience, which I think is so cool. And then cocktails and comedy is about community, um, which is awesome. So it's like again, LP Drinks has its mission and its values, but each program really like checks off a different box.
Yeah, that's really cool how you develop that. Like
Yeah.
everything that means something to you. You've
Yes.
created a space for it and it's like your children.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, I want to transition to this. We're kind of wrapping up here to this segment called Ear to the Streets,
Okay.
where I like to provide our listeners with some recommendations. and maybe like either shout out a bartender or a chef or brand that you've been rocking with. Of course, we're going to shout out Cocktails and Comedy March 7th. Get your tickets. If you're in Atlanta, if you're listening and you're not in Atlanta, there's different cities, LP and Tone Bell and Rojo, they're touring everywhere else too. So check that out. But do you have any other recommendations or chefs or mixologists you want to shout
Yeah,
out?
for sure. Tiffany Barrier, for sure. Total
Mm-hmm.
badass.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing human. Sippany is a canned cocktail company that I co-own with Amanda Victoria
Okay.
and Joey Mitz.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're really trying to do with that canned cocktail is showcase that craft can be integrated into canned drinks. And that, that when selecting and making decisions about what is best for your cocktail programs, that should also be extended to canned cocktails
Yeah.
because there are really good ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all about saving the bees. It's a rye whiskey, a beautiful New York honey, lemon juice, club soda, delicious,
What is
so
it called
good.
again?
Sipony, Siponey.
Symphony. Okay,
Yeah, it's so
nice.
good.
I'm
Um,
definitely going to try
as
that.
far as other,
Um, okay,
as far as
go
yeah, as
ahead.
far
Did
as
you have
other
another one?
people, yeah, I think Another Round, Another Rally is an amazing organization doing great work for the beverage sector, so I'd like to give them a shout out as well. I really appreciate how they've been able to provide so many emergency resources to bartenders. And they're a space that's always willing to help businesses and individuals,
Mm-hmm.
from even if it's just from like a coaching perspective. So I really appreciate them for what they're doing.
That is cool. Another round, another rally.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll check them out too. I know they've kind of, I've seen them as a sponsor for certain things. Um, that's cool. That is a really good
yeah,
mission. Um, I have a shout out. I'm gonna shout out Sincere Fare, which is a chef and a mixologist duo here in Atlanta, and they curate these really cool events, but they're really big on community. And so they do this event called Cocktails with Friends, where they highlight a bartender each month, and they just kind of create an experience around that bartender. They're highlighting me next month. So I'm like,
oh,
hey
that's
guys, right?
exciting.
So I call my listeners soulmates. So soulmates, come see me March 15th.
Aw,
Yeah, March 15th at Girl Diver for Cocktails with Friends. That Sincere Fair also hosts this is, you're gonna really like this, LP, but they host this event or this class called Mixology House, which is
okay,
basically they bring bartenders together to teach them molecular mixology skills that they need to learn
very
in the
cool.
industry, but their inspiration was drink masters. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah. And so I went to their first class or course, workshop. I'll call it more of a workshop because it's not like so structured. It's very fluid and it's nice. It's a good vibe, and it's all the different bartenders in Atlanta, in a really small, curated, cool space.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and so we learned what do we call it? Spherification, and we learned how to make why can't I think of it? Mango caviar. That's what we learned how to do.
Isn't it
Mango.
cool once you learn how to do it?
Right. Yes, it is. It is. And it was so cool because the whole time everybody's like, oh, this is just like Chick Masters. So it was
Aw,
cool. It was definitely cool because I didn't know how to do any of those
when's
things.
the next one?
The next one they want it to be like March 18th. They haven't quite put a date, but it's going to be in March as well.
I'd
Um,
love to come. That sounds fun.
okay, I'm gonna put that bug in their ear and see what we could do. But I don't have any more questions for you. I'm so grateful for your time today. Like this felt
Yeah,
so good.
thanks for having me.
Yes. Do you have anything that you want to get off your chest or
No, I just, I'm grateful to have been able to chat with you this morning. I definitely needed that for my soul. But yeah, I know I'm just excited to be in, the place I am, surrounded by the people I'm surrounded by. I'm human. I'm trying my best, learning along the way,
you're
and I'm,
doing good? You're doing so
I'm, I'm,
good.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to another episode of Spirit and Soul Podcast. Um, they definitely make sure you're following us on Instagram at Spirit and Soul Podcast. And make sure you're following and subscribing to our YouTube channel, our Spotify, and our Apple. Thank you, LP, again for today. This has been great.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.